Hey there, Wetpaint viewers. This is Dr. Alisa Robinson, licensed clinical psychologist and expert on celebrity psychology. Today, instead of taking questions, I want to talk a little bit about a theme that I noticed in the recent episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and that's the theme of resentment. Taylor talked a lot about feelings of resentment in her marriage, and having resentment in a marriage or a relationship can be very toxic, and I've seen it destroy many marriages and relationships between people. Resentment can come from a lot of different things. When you don't have a voice or speak up for what you want, even if it's something as small as where you want to go eat for dinner, then you can end up feeling resentful over time. Also, if major problems in a marriage or a relationship are not being addressed, then resentment builds. And resentment is one of those things that's very powerful, but it begins to build over time and gets worse and worse when it's not addressed and dealt with. I also saw some signs of possible resentment between Kyle and Kim Richards, and it seems like they may have their falling out that happened at the end of last season may have led to some resentment that still has not been resolved or worked through. One other way in which people can feel resentment is when someone suicides, and in that case, the resentment and anger a person can feel can be very, very powerful. And it's particularly difficult to work through because the person's no longer there to be able to work it out with them. And I imagine that Taylor might be feeling some very painful emotions, including resentment these days. If you are experiencing resentment in a relationship, then it's really important that problems and situations be addressed. The big stuff needs to be addressed, and the small stuff you need to practice letting go. So the little things like a person leaving a coffee cup somewhere or doing little things that irritate you, it's important to let those go instead of letting it build into resentment. But the bigger problems and issues really need to be addressed in order for resentment to not destroy a relationship. If you have a hard time bringing up problems, then you can go to therapy or see a counselor who can maybe help you learn techniques in order to be able to deal with resentment and bring up problems and issues so that they can be resolved and worked through. Well, that's all I got to say for this week. See you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.